Alrighty, friends. This is Jenny doing her cultural technology project for LED 533. Today we are going to be talking about fractions and how they teach fractions in elementary schools in China versus how they do it in America. So the big thing in China when teaching fractions is it's all about the language. For example, 1/4, which is a common, basic fraction, would be verbalized as we have four pieces and we're going to take one. So if it's 1/5, we have five pieces and we're looking at one of them. If it's 23/43, we have 43 pieces and we're looking at 23 of those 43 pieces. So they really emphasize the language of what the fraction is actually telling them. And in the YouTube video that I watched about this, which the link is right here, using this fraction trick and thinking about pieces and visualizing pieces makes it really much easier to understand when we go into adding fractions, because adding fractions gets so complicated. And so in this example that he gave, you have 1/4 right here and you have 1/3 right here. And so there's four pieces and we're looking at one of them. There's three pieces and we're looking at one of them. Now we know that when you add fractions with uncommon denominators that you have to get a common denominator. And so the one for this is 12 pieces. So then you would just take this same picture and split it into 12 pieces instead of 4 and 12 pieces here instead of 3. So now all the pieces are of equal size, which is the whole point of the denominator. The denominator decides the size of the pieces because that's how many you have total. And then you can see that 1/4 is 3/12, it's the same thing. And then 1/3 is 4/12. And when you put them together, you'll get a little over half. So yeah, when looking at adding fractions, it makes it a little easier to understand if you actually show students how to draw the picture, obviously, if they can. If it's a ridiculously large fraction, you can't do that. But when they're first starting to learn fractions, talking about specifically what the fraction is trying to tell them. And so one thing I wanted to hit on was that I feel like this way really reminds me of how we looked at fractions in 107. And because I remember, we all took 107 and it was our first math class, and we had to kind of think about things a lot differently. And I really do think this way reminds me of that. And looking at fractions as pieces and coloring things in and yada yada yada. So I'm wondering if this will start to be adopted in classrooms here, being that we're going to be the teachers and this is how we learned how to teach children. And so just to reiterate what the difference between the Chinese way and the American way is that you see 1/4 and you call it 1/4 like I just did, or a quarter. And those are just pseudonyms for the fraction. They're just another way of saying the fraction. It's like seeing a picture and saying what the word is for it. But it doesn't directly talk about what is happening within the fraction. So basically it's better to help students visualize. It's not 1/4, it's 1 out of 4. Or, and even though that language is a little longer to say, it's not as short term as 1/4. It really helps. It explicitly says what is happening. 1/4 is 1 out of 4 pieces. And so now I'm going to look at this virtual manipulative. So you can see all my tabs up here. Anyway, so basically, like, let's say we're going to do 8 pieces. Okay, and we're going to say that we want 2/8. So this is, let's see if I can actually do this. 2, oh, it didn't work. Hold up. 2, nope, that didn't work either. Oh, I think I know which one. Oh gosh, I swear I did play with this before. See, it's up right here. I really did play with it, but now it's being complicated. So I think this is the one I want. Yeah, so we have 2/8 right here. Okay, and then let's say we want to do plus, how about 3/4? Okay, so we want to do 2/8 plus 3/4. Now you can see that it is 2/8. There are 8 total pieces in this square. We've cut it up into 8 pieces, and we're looking at 2 of them. These 2 right here that are colored in. So this is what this fraction is saying, is that it's 2 out of 8. So think of the fraction line as being out of. So 2 out of 8. Similarly, with this 3/4, we have cut this square into 4 equal pieces, and we're looking at 3 of them. So we're looking at 3 out of the 4 equal pieces. Now, excuse me. We can see, we need to find a common denominator if we're going to add these. Let's see. We want to add, wrong thing. Lord have mercy. Here we go. We want to add things. So, in looking at this, we can see that 8 and 4 actually play together very nicely and have a common denominator of 8, right? Because we can just double the 4 to get 8, which means we have to double this 3 to get 6. So 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent fractions, and we made it this way so that we can add these 2 together. Now, to show that they are equivalent fractions, we will put this right here. It's very here. Can we move this? We'll just erase it. Okay. So we'll put this right underneath so you can see that that was cool. See how it just connected? I didn't do that, but that was cool. So that's, fun. Anyway, so why is this being on? Basically, so if you put it right underneath so you can see very easily that they're the same, but now instead of 3/4, we want 6/8, so it's out of 8 pieces total, and we want to color in 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's our new number, or our new fraction that we're working with. But as we can see, they are literally equivalent, right? Because 1, 2, they line up exactly. So that's how you can show that these are equivalent, which is really cool. And so then, in order to, you could put these all together, and you could see that 6/8 plus 2/8 is equal to 8/8, which is 1, which is really cool. And you can kind of see that because you can see these two little pieces right here. Since these are all equal parts, equal size pieces, those would fit right there. And then this entire thing would be colored in to make it show as 1. So that is like one example. I just think this app is really cool because you can do it, you can do it out of however many pieces you want. Like if we wanted like 98 pieces, like it would do it. It'd be a little rough. But we can make it longer. You can do it out of a circle if you wanted to. So just like in that other problem that we saw in the YouTube video, you could do fourths and thirds. And then put the circles underneath. Oh, Lord have mercy. Put the circles underneath to show, I don't think I want that one. So if we're going to find between thirds and fourths, the denominator would be 12. This one. So we would be 12 to make equivalent fractions. And then we can see like you would color in this piece. And then you color in that to get it to look like the 1/3. So it's just really cool and look, you can even like put them on top of each other to see that they're equal. So it's just really cool to help kids, visualize equivalent fractions. And I think the whole point of the Chinese method is that you are trying to get kids to visualize and understand what the fraction is actually saying. Versus just 1/4. Yeah, that's 1/4. But like, what is 1/4? 1/4 is having 4 pieces and looking at one out of those 4 pieces. So yeah, hope this was fun. Thanks for watching.